Well, interesting. This is NGC7351 that I wasn't able to catch last night in the 7350 to 99 series. It's right there in the upper middle part of the screen. I had a perfect alignment with it, and then I ended up mounting the camera and it disappeared. Now, I had mounted the camera earlier yesterday, so I can't account for it. But there are some issues with the scope flexing in some way, which is causing the problem with not getting good go-to accuracy at time, even though the original setups and the calibration is fine. Tonight is Wednesday. It is about 8:30 in the evening. It's the 4th of October, and you are looking at NGC7351, a Galaxy in Aquarius, and we're looking for it again because I could not get it to be on the screen last night. It's magnitude 13, 1.7 by 1.3 arc minutes, a spiral of the oblate type, a mere 39 million light years distant, minus 4.5 degrees, and we're going to have to go through all of this very quickly. Now, I have to say I'm losing a little confidence in the go-to accuracy because of this little bit of instability that comes from having the camera mounted. However, I do believe we're seeing NGC7353, Galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 15.6 by 0.5 arc minutes. It's a spiral with some peculiarities, some 328 million light years distant. It's about maybe half the size, maybe 50 to 60,000 light years across. It's at plus 12 degrees. And I am hoping it's somewhere on the screen. I see something faint there with magnitude 15, so yeah. The night sky is quite good tonight, so there's no excuses there. NGC7359 is a Galaxy in Aquila. It's at minus almost 24 degrees. I'm sorry, Aquarius. Magnitude 12.5, 2.4 by 0.6 arc minutes, is lenticular spiral class O, 149 million light years distant. It's probably a little bit larger than our own Milky Way, maybe 110,000 light years. It's at minus almost 24 degrees. I do believe I see a number of faint fuzzies. I expect as we go south, various studies are going to gravitate towards the top of the screen, and as we go overhead to the lower part of the screen, and I do see a very nicely presented galaxy, which could easily be a 12.5 near edge-on semi-oblate galaxy right there. Because we're at the celestial equator, NGC 7360 is visible right in the middle of the screen. That's pretty much the way I set it up. There's about a 4 arc minute, 5 arc minute variance in location depending on whether we go north or south. NGC 7360 is a Galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 13.6, 0.7 by 0.4 arc minutes. It's simply described as a spiral. It's at plus 4 degrees. Northern declination, and there she is on the screen. Going after NGC 7361, but it's far too south in Pisces Austrinus. So let's go for 7362 now. I'm seeing a faint galaxy right here, NGC 7362, Galaxy in Pegasus. However, it should be brighter than that. It's magnitude 12.7, 1.1 by 0.8 arc minutes, and elliptical, 341 million light years distant, so this baby's about the size, maybe slightly larger than our own galaxy, maybe 110,000 light years. It's at plus almost 9 degrees. Hopefully it grew on us as I spoke. NGC 7364 is a Galaxy in Aquarius, brightish, magnitude 12.6, 1.8 by 1.1 football-shaped spiral with a lowercase a, 222 million light years distance, probably about 120,000 light years in diameter, and it's very close to the celestial equator. I see it on the screen. Almost looks like it has extensions. NGC 7365 is kind of migrated to the top of the screen. It's at minus 20 degrees. It's a Galaxy in that tall Aquarius, magnitude 12.9, 1.5 by 1 arc minute, a class O lenticular spiral, 137 million light years distance, probably about 75 to 80,000 light years across. It's at minus 20 degrees. What we're looking for here is a very faint 15.5 magnitude, quite small, face-on 0.3 by 0.3 arc-minute spiral. It's at plus 11 degrees, NGC7366, a galaxy in Pegasus. And I think vaguely it's probably in this region right around here. Although I see some other faint smudges there as well. I'll have to look it up. Look at it tomorrow by using the skylive.com. NGC7367 is another galaxy in Pegasus, further south. Magnitude 13.8, 1.6 by 0.4 arc minutes, so a little slightly tilted edge on. Spiral lowercase ab, 323 million light years distant. This one's as large as Messier 31, about 150,000 light years across. It's at plus 3.5 degrees. I think it's quite obvious on the screen. It looks very nice. I did manage to image NGC 7369 last night. However, I thought we'd take another look. Galaxy in Pegasus, pretty far north, plus almost 34 degrees, maybe 34.5. The interesting thing about it is a magnitude 13.6 galaxy. Small, 0.9 by 0.9 arc minutes. It's a spiral with a lowercase c and a ring. And that's what I thought was interesting about it. It's about the size of the Milky Way at 300 million light years distant. It's also, if it's anywhere on the screen, it's going to be further down in this region here because things are not particularly tight in terms of north-south declination. But anyway, I thought we would have another look at this one to see if we could make out that ring at around magnitude 16.5. NGC 7370 is a galaxy in Pegasus. It's probably the faintest galaxy we'll endeavor to turn up this evening. It's at magnitude 16.4, smallish, 0.5 by 0.2. That means it's probably oblately, sub-oblately presented, just described as a spiral. It's 11 degrees above the celestial equator, and I am seeing something in the right position right there. And I'll have to confirm that with imagery from the Digital Sky Survey Manana. I think we're getting quite a nice look at NGC 7371, Galaxy in Aquarius, brightest, magnitude 11.5, face on 1.7 by 1.7, spiral with a bar, lenticular, class O with a small lowercase a, 118 million light years distant. It's at minus 11 degrees. That distance and size basically says it's probably about 75,000 light years in diameter. We are getting a nice view. NGC 7372 is a galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 13.4, pure oblate presentation, 1 by 0.5 arc minutes, a spiral with a lowercase bc. This baby is very far away, 524 million light years. I've seen it as far as 923. This one's about 200,000 light years in diameter. It's quite bright, actually. Much brighter than Andromeda Galaxy would be at that distance, which would be, I expect Andromeda Galaxy to be about magnitude 14.5. This one's at plus 11 degrees. I hope we got a good look at it. It should be right there on the screen. I believe it to be right there. And that's about the right presentation, too. NGC 7373 is a galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 13.6, 1.3 by 0.5 arc minutes, so a sub-oblately presented spiral of the lenticular class O, 212 million light years distance, probably about 90,000 light years in diameter. It is at plus 3 degrees. You know, I like the way things are turning up tonight, even though they're kind of wandering up and down the screen. At least they can be identified as galaxies that represent what the data seems to be telling us. NGC 7374A is a galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 14.9, 0.9 by 0.7 arc minutes, spiral with a lowercase bc, 317 million light years distant, so roughly the size of our own Milky Way at 100,000 light years. Plus 11 degrees. I do believe it's quite apparent on the screen. Not bad for a 15th magnitude galaxy. Well, with nary a click of the stepper motors, we're now at NGC 7374b, a galaxy in Pegasus. Magnitude 15.5, 0.4 by 0.2. Look for something fairly small, but surface brightness is probably a little bit higher than 74A. This one's a spiral of lenticular class. It's 321 million light years distant. I would say it's probably about 50,000 light years in diameter or smaller. Should be fun to track these babies down tomorrow. NGC7350 is a galaxy further north than Pegasus, magnitude 14.9, so it should be more present on the screen than the last one that was 14.9. It's 0.8 by 0.6 arc minutes spiral of class lowercase a with a ring. I would doubt we would see the ring. It's 308 million light years distant, so it's probably a little bit smaller than Milky Way, maybe 90,000 light years. It's at plus 21 degrees declination. NGC 7376 is another galaxy in Pegasus. This one further south. It's roughly 3.5 degrees above the celestial equator. Magnitude 14.4, smallish, 0.7 by 0.5 arc minutes. There's no distance information on this galaxy. And I wish I could take time to give you some background on how they distance galaxies, but we need to run through these quickly. Well, this one shouldn't be hard to pick out. NGC 7377, it's deep south, minus 22 degrees, in a galaxy in Aquarius. Magnitude 11.1, largish, 4.1 by 3.4 arc minutes. It's a spiral with a bar. It's lenticular with a lowercase a, 147 million light years distance. That means this one is probably somewhere close to 200,000 light years in diameter, 25% larger than Messier 31. It's at minus 22 degrees in declination and is given a fairly bright presentation despite being so far south and having such an illuminated screen. Because this is the part 2 and I'm having to regroup and show you galaxies missed last night, I'm going to make this the Carpe Noctem view. I'm seeing a nice faint galaxy, by the way, there. This is NGC 7378. It's a galaxy in Aquarius, magnitude 13, 1.5 by 0.9 arc minutes, so it's oblately presented. It's a spiral with a lowercase ab and a ring, so look for that. 114 million light years distant. It's at almost minus 12 degrees. So basically we've covered 19 studies that were missed last night because the go-to wasn't very accurate. And now I suspect somehow it got disturbed mechanically. And so I have to look to see if there's any issues with something being wobbly on one of the axes or the OTA. However, I will post these 19 galaxies up tomorrow and include them in the astronomy playlist. However, I'm going to try, after charging up this camera, to come out again tonight and cover the 7400 to 7449 series as those studies begin to culminate, because right now we're at hour 22, 47, 47, and I'm going to give it about a half an hour charge on the camera so I can come back out once again and redo my synchronization at that point. Carpe Noctem.